Welcome to Buzz on Veterans. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me in the studio is Matthew Snyder with RemedyGuard. Matthew, how are you doing?
Hey, Chris. I'm doing
you.
well, thank you. It's great to see you too.
No, it's good to see you. So let's talk about where you're from and then what you do in the military.
I'm originally from Southern Oregon,
Yeah.
and if you know anything about Oregon, it's one of the only states that it's illegal to pump your own gas. So
I know that.
I was a gas pumper for a brief moment before I joined the Air Force, and then there I was driving
what
a
you
trunk,
do in the Air Force?
fueling planes,
Yeah.
fueling generators, doing all of that.
That's
Served, signed for 6, served 4, got out after
Okay.
my second tour in Iraq.
Okay.
Invisible wounds kind of precluded
Okay.
continued service, and
Okay.
you know, got out and figured it out.
So what's your post-military journey look like?
Yeah, it's a lot of bouncing around from place to place,
Yeah.
job to job, trying to figure things out, something that would stick, that would make me happy, and
Yeah.
money. You know.
Yeah, well, that matters, right? You gotta pay the
Right?
bills.
Yeah, I mean, I got out just before that economic downturn in 2008, and you know, just before that started, I decided to go to college to get my bachelor's and kind of
Yeah.
go get educated and weather the storm
Yeah.
that way. And so that's, you know, one reason why I use my GI Bill.
So we're talking offset. You're talking about veteran entrepreneurship. What's your thoughts on it, and why Jacksonville, and what are the opportunities, not just here in Jacksonville, beyond, with veteran entrepreneurship?
Well, what's fascinating with veteran entrepreneurship is, you know, we represent 7 to 8% of the population in general, but
Yeah.
when it comes to business ownership, we're 13, 14+%.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we're somehow predispositioned to go out and start
Yeah.
our own things at some point, leaving service. Military service is actually the only indicator that a person is going to possibly go on and start a business.
Yeah.
Age, any demographics, social income, nothing. Military service is the only
Wow.
indicator.
Yeah.
And with 200,000 plus service members exiting every year, there's a lot of room to get them in and onboarded into this world of business ownership.
I think it's great because I think there's a lot of skills, regardless, officer, enlisted, warrant officer, that we learn. Not just the tangibles, things we do, but also the intangibles, the way we think, the way we plan, the way we implement a plan, and then assess along the way to make improvements. Can take that into the business space pretty fluidly.
It translates over really well,
Yeah.
and being able to identify threats and respond to them in a timely fashion.
Yeah, well, that's funny. I was looking at an article this morning on SWOT analysis, which has been around for a long time, but again, you know, that's something we do pretty constant. So I would think as a business owner, you'd always be looking at strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. But I guess some folks need to be reminded periodically.
They do, and there's an interesting thing talking about like veteran entrepreneurship and what, you know, we go on to do. A lot of it is about making a social impact.
Yeah.
It's usually something more encompassing, you know, greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, no, that's great. So talk to us about RemedyGuard.
RemedyGuard is a company I started back in September of 21 to really try and bridge that gap between the public and public health. So with all the increase in overdoses, for one, and trying to really just get the public, and primarily people that have children and pets in their lives, to make a stronger effort at just locking up their substances.
Yeah.
The stigma that has been induced in our society around drugs, around substances, prevents us from having simple conversations. It keeps the outreach professionals from being able to just easily go into their community and say, hey, come here and have a conversation.
Right.
Because folks don't want having somebody wag their finger at them.
Yeah.
But that's changed. Outreach and prevention has changed, and it really is about providing education, some guidance, and most importantly, hope.
Yeah.
And it's one of the big things that I say now with when it comes to like the outreach, is that they're trying to instill a bit of hope into their communities. And things are pretty bleak.
Wow.
You know.
So where's RemedyGuard at now? Where are you guys going in the future?
So we are growing considerably.
Okay.
I've been able to, about 10 times the number of like lock boxes and locking bags that I've moved. So,
Oh, wow.
Last year I did maybe 7,000 or so, and I'm up to like 70,000
Yeah.
this year, getting it out there. And one thing that I'm looking at for the future is domestic manufacturing.
Okay.
You know, I do have a product that is sourced
It's
overseas.
pretty expensive. It's funny, I had a conversation with a couple of manufacturers, and they said the price point for to produce some of the stuff in the U.S. is just exponentially high. So
It is,
kind
and
of forces us to go overseas, unfortunately.
it is unfortunate when you're talking about a product that's given away for free. Like, my buyers are very price conscious.
Yeah.
And I do believe that it is possible to increase the value for them with a domestic made product.
Yeah.
And I was talking with a guy from the trade department last week or the week before, and if it's a domestic made product, we're talking exports.
Yeah.
Medication adherence, medication management is $1 billion global issue.
Yeah.
And if we can get things right here in this environment, we can see a lot of success abroad in getting folks on board with just making that stronger effort.
That's good. So for our audience, since we publish this out across the Google News and across the Daily News Network, how do they find you, and then how do they find RemedyGuard?
So word of mouth, like my folks, they're usually involved with more than just their local environment. They're part of larger coalitions or larger networks of prevention.
Okay.
And they love to talk.
Okay.
And so when they hear that there's something new and somebody that is willing to engage with them and get them everything that they need, they come.
That's great. Well,
call
Matthew,
in.
thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your service to our nation, and thanks for what you're doing in the local area, especially with entrepreneurial leadership and the mentorship. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Chris.
Appreciate it. Hey, folks, you like what you heard? Please share us. Connect with us on LinkedIn, and we'll see you at our next segment and live with gratitude. All right, folks, if you like what you heard, please connect with Wayne and us. We're going to take all their information and put it in the show notes here. Take a look at On the Fin, a company that's on the move, doing a lot of amazing things in the cyberspace area. We'll see you at our next segment and live with gratitude.
Operation Barnabas is a veterans ministry, started in 2017 with the purpose of helping our veterans that kind of got left behind, and they've struggled with addictions, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, those kind of things, helping them get whole again through one-to-one mentorship.
Being able to communicate with them and help them can drastically change their life, can drastically change a family's life. The little that we can do is put our hand out and say, hey, do you want a hand up?